Someone asks you for a favor. You don't want to do it. You're tired, you're busy, you have your own things going on. But you say yes anyway. And then you spend the next hour or the next day quietly resenting it. Resenting them for asking. Resenting yourself for agreeing. And somewhere underneath all of that, there's this exhausting question you can't quite shake. Why can't I just say no? Here's what's actually happening. The guilt you feel when you say no isn't about being selfish. It's not a moral failure. It's a fear response. And it's one that most people never trace back to where it actually started. When you were growing up, you learned through experience, not through anyone telling you directly, what happened when you said no. Maybe saying no made someone angry. Maybe it made someone withdraw. Maybe it made you feel like you were being difficult, ungrateful, too much. And your nervous system, which is extraordinarily good at learning patterns, drew a conclusion. Saying no is dangerous. Saying no costs you something. So saying yes, even when you don't want to, became the safer option. Psychologists call this the fawn response. It's a survival strategy where a person learns to prioritize other people's comfort over their own needs in order to avoid conflict, rejection, or emotional withdrawal. And the guilt you feel when you try to break that pattern isn't your conscience telling you you've done something wrong. It's your nervous system firing an alarm because you've done something unfamiliar, something that once felt unsafe. There's also something specific happening in the brain when you anticipate saying no. Research in social neuroscience shows that social rejection and physical pain activate overlapping regions in the brain. When you imagine disappointing someone, when you picture their face falling or their tone shifting, your brain responds to that anticipated rejection similarly to how it responds to actual physical discomfort. To your brain, rejection isn't just emotional, it registers as a threat. This is why saying no can feel genuinely painful, even when the situation is minor. Your brain isn't being dramatic. It's doing exactly what it was trained to do. And here's why this pattern can be so difficult to break. Many people who struggle to say no have learned to measure their worth through other people's reactions. When you say yes, you get the signal. They're pleased, you're safe, you're good. When you say no, that signal disappears. And without it, something inside you goes quiet in a way that feels unbearable. So how do you actually change this? Because just deciding to say no more doesn't work. The guilt arrives faster than the decision. Next time guilt shows up after you say no, try treating it as information instead of evidence. When you feel guilty for saying no, that feeling is telling you that your nervous system perceives a threat. It is not telling you that you've done something wrong. Learning to distinguish between those two things, between discomfort and wrongdoing, is the foundation of everything else. This is where the retraining starts. Start with low-stakes no's and work your way up. Say no to something small today. A minor request, a casual invitation. Something where the consequences feel manageable. Notice the guilt. Let it be there without acting on it. What you'll find gradually is that the guilt peaks and then passes, and the relationship survives. The world doesn't end. And each time that happens, your nervous system updates its model of what saying no actually costs. And then there's the deeper work. Start building a sense of worth that doesn't depend on other people's reactions. This happens slowly, through small acts of honoring your own needs even when it's uncomfortable. Through noticing that you have limits, and that those limits are not flaws. Through understanding that a relationship which can only survive if you always say yes is not a safe relationship. It's a transaction. Saying no is not unkind. It is not selfish. It is not a betrayal of the people you love. It is the most honest thing you can offer, because a yes that comes from fear, from guilt, from the desperate need to keep everyone comfortable, isn't really a yes at all. It's just a no that never learned it was allowed to exist.